आवल जन्म मरण का भ्रम गया, गोबिंद लिव लागी। जीवत सुन समान्या, गुर साखी जागी रहाओ। कांसी ते धुन उपजै, धुन कांसी जाई। कांसी फूटी पंडिता, धुन कहाँ समाई। त्रिकुटी संद मैं पेखिया, घट हू घट जागी। ऐसी बुद्ध समाचरे, घट माहे त्यागी। आप आप ते जानिया, तेज तेज समाना। कहो कबीर अब जानिया, गोबिंद मन माना। आप आप ते जानिया, तेज तेज समाना। कहो कबीर अब जानिया, गोबिंद मन माना। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। संगत जी, today's Pavan Pitra Hukamnama Sahib from Sachkhand Sri Harmandir Sahib is on Ang 857 in Bilawal Rag by Bhagat Kabir ji. Bhagat Kabir ji today start off with saying to us that Janam Maran ka Brahma gaya. Here they're talking about their own experience and their own state of where they have reached in their life. So they're saying to us that, meaning that this is that very place that we can all reach, that every human being has this ability to get to that place that Bhagat Kabir ji is sharing with us. And over here in this Shabad, Bhagat Kabir ji is actually talking to a Pandit here. So they're saying that Janam Maran ka Brahma gaya. They're saying that the Brahm here meaning the illusion of Janam and Maran, of being born and dying. They said that illusion now has gaya, kende oh chal gaya, it's gone for me now. Because the truth is, when we look deeper into what Sadhguru Ji Pacha Ji tell us, and the more we go into that inner journey and starting to separate that true self from that what is impermanent, from that what is just here only on a temporary basis, that what is it that is temporary is this body. What is it that is temporary is that those thoughts, that mind. But there's something that is behind all of that, that is the truth. It's because of that we actually exist. It's because of that this body is able to even do anything. That jyot, that light inside. And Bhagat Kabir ji saying that now I've come to that place of that realization that actually Janam Maran is actually an illusion. It seemed to be real. I thought I was actually in it and going through it. I thought I was actually dying. I actually thought I was being born. But now, when I've been able to realize what I actually am, now I realize that that was all an illusion. Just like Sache Pacha Ji, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Sache Pacha Ji tell us in their Shabad, they'll say to us that Pavane mein pavan samaya, Jyoti mein jyot ral jaya, Mati mati hui ek, rovan har ki kamn tek. Over here, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Pacha Ji is telling us, they're saying that Pavane mein pavan samaya, that what is it that dies? Just in case somebody threw anybody off. That what does Brahma actually mean? What does this? How can you say that Janam Maran is an actual illusion? What does Bhagat Kabir ji mean by that? Because I've seen many go through that death. It's real, it happens. But Bhagat Kabir ji saying to us it's an illusion. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Pacha Ji explains this to us further. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Pacha Ji saying, think about this deeper. Those that have come to realize this whole game, ask them how it's all working. and they will tell us very clearly. They'll say that, look, Pavane Maha, Pavan Samaya. They're saying, look at that wind. Wind, Sangaji here, look at that air. The element of air that is there within us. And they're saying, look what happens to that Pavane Maha, Pavan Samaya. It goes back and merges back with the rest of the air. That air, because of that air that we have, this breath we breathe. But that just goes back. Has it died? Absolutely not. Dying means when something does not exist anymore. It just doesn't exist in this form, but it still continues to exist. Actually, even the form of that element remains as it is. All it is, we just don't see this matter as this. They're saying that the Jyot, those that have actually realized themselves, they say that the Jyot, the light inside of them, merges back in with that supreme light, Vaheguru Ji. Then they say that Mati hui ek. This says, but if you look at the earth element within you, they said that earth element within you goes back and merges back with the earth. The dust becomes the dust again. And then they say, Kinde rovan harki kavana take. But then there's that one that is crying and saying, look, they have died. They have died, they've come to an end. But Kabir Ji is saying, Kinde, look, what actual support have you got for crying? They said, but because has anything actually died? Isn't this just an illusion? But Kabir Ji is saying to us, and then we'll try to understand this through Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paat Ji Shabad. Then they'll say, Kaun Mua Re? Kaun Mua? Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paat Ji actually ask us this question. They said, who has died? Who's died? Then they say, Brahma Gyani Mil Karo Bichara. Eho to chalat paya. They're saying, look, meet with that Brahma Gyani. Meet with those that are actually have realized this whole play and this game. Can they contemplate this with them? Bichara. They're saying that eho to chalat paya. They said, this is just a wondrous play. Chalat means a wondrous play. So in that sense, but only then it becomes a play for us when we have that realization. Just like Guru Amar Das Ji Paat Ji tell us, they say Guru Prasadi, this is with the grace of the Guru. Can they Guru Prasadi, maaf karna Sangat Ji, Pangati visar gayi, that where Guru Amar Das Ji Paat Ji say to us that actually only through the Guru's grace that you come to realize this is actually just all ये तो एक असल विच खेड सिगी that can lage. So Sangat Ji, moving on anyway, because that wasn't the Visha, that's not what I was going to focus on. So it's probably a blessing in disguise that I forgot the Pangati, because otherwise I would have made that into my topic. But Khair Sangat Ji, so Guru Bhagat Kabir Ji is saying, Kende Param Gaya, it's gone for me now. So, and then Sache Paatshah Ji, Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, Kende Gobind live lagi, when I connected, when my live, I was able to connect to who I actually am, to Gobind. Now it's not that my thoughts have connected of thinking about Vaheguru Ji, but now that I've actually connected, meaning that I've come to realize that I am that Jyoti Swaroop of Vaheguru Ji. They can Gobind live lagi, can they Jeevat sun. Over here, can they whilst still living, can they whilst still yet alive, can they Jeevat, can they sun. I went into this sun, Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, but I'm still alive. And Sangat Ji, what does sun actually mean? If you look at the word sun can be translated to void. Sun can be translated to nothing. But not as in you translate it that it means nothing. It can translate to nothingness. But the word nothingness is not accurate. And if we Sangat Ji, the word nothingness is not accurate, even though you would see that translation come up if you was to go into a dictionary, a Punjabi kosh. But Sangat Ji, sun is talking about that place of absolute stillness and silence. Because being amongst the Jivat, the being amongst all of this movement, the movement of this physical body, the movement of the elements, the air, the movement of the thoughts, the movement of the mind, constantly changing, the movement of this body aging. Everything is changing, is moving, but being amongst all of that movement, Bhagat Kabir ji saying, kende sun jeevat sun samanya. Samanya Sangaji means that I have now absorbed into that deep silence within inside of me. And what does Bhagat Kabir ji mean here? If we look at Gurbani further to understand this, Gurbani will tell us kende jeevat mare, mare fun jeeve, kende aise sun samaya. Satguru ji Sache Paatshah ji tell us in Gurbani, they'll say jeevat mare. They say that when somebody is still alive, you have to actually die. You have to die a particular type of death whilst you still are alive to experience this sun, this silence amongst the noise, that we're living amongst this crazy world. Everything is has become so noisy. All the information, all the social media, our children making a noise. Everything sometimes can become overwhelming for us. There's too much going on. And with all that so much going on, and then all of that is entering through these senses, and then it starts to set and it becomes our memory. That manas goes and stores into our manas, into that memory, and from our memory our then thoughts just go out of control, constantly trying to get everything, understand everything. How does that work? Oh, what did that person say to me? Why did they say that to me? Why were they looking at me like that? What, all of this, the thoughts just keep coming, going. All of this movement, all of this noise. Amongst all of that, how do you get to that place of sun? Bhagat Kabir ji saying, amongst being a part of that life, you have to mara. You have to die a particular death, and that death is not of the body. Mara. And then from actually dying, what do you do then? Mare fun jeeva. And then you actually learn how to live. This is from that death, then you actually funajiva, then you start to truly live. But now when you live from that place within, amongst the whole noise, you live from a place of sun. Now you are truly living. You wasn't even living before. Actually before, you was dead in another way, dead in a maya way. You was dead to this illusion. And then you enter that sun. So what death is it that we die? Guru Angad Dev ji, Sache Paatshah ji tell us in their sloks. They'll tell us, they say, this is the death that you die. Guru Angad Dev ji Paatshah ji kehn lage, kende akhi bajo vekhana, ven kanna sunna. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪੈਰਾਂ ਬਾਜੋ ਚੱਲਣਾ, ਵਿਣ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ, ਜੀਭੇ ਬਾਜੋ ਬੋਲਣਾ, ਇਓ ਜੀਵਤ ਮਰਨਾ. ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, this is what Guru Angad Dev ji Paatshah ji saying, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਓ ਜੀਵਤ ਮਰਨਾ. In this way you die this death whilst you are alive, and then you will truly become alive. And what is that death? They're saying that ਅੱਖੀਂ ਬਾਜੋ ਵੇਖਣਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ you learn how to look without a particular set of eyes. You look, but now you don't look with those eyes anymore. There's something that you kill inside of you to become alive. And what is that? Akhi bajo vekhana. Without those set of eyes, without those eyes that look at prai vast, without those eyes, now you kill those eyes inside of you, Sangat ji, that is constantly looking at through lustful set of eyes, are constantly looking at that what is not yours, and then your mind becoming greedy for wanting that. They're saying you kill those eyes that is looking at others' wealth, that is looking at those other women or men that don't belong to you. You've got your own partner at home, or if you haven't, they belong to someone else. They're a daughter of someone's. This says you kill those eyes. And Sangaji, how do we do that? How do we kill those eyes? We take that. First, we don't even know that we need to do that. From the awareness that the Guru gives us. The Guru tells us that if your eyes are out of control in that way, and some people will say, oh, this person needs to be punished. No, Sangaji, it's not that this person needs to be punished. It just means that they are not gonna get to that place of realizing Vaheguruji and enter that sun, that pure silence, and get to that place that every human being has the ability to get to. That's all that means. And it means if you continue to do, if you don't kill those eyes, eventually it will go and become an action as well. Sangaji, from that it will become what your hands will end up then doing something too. Your hands will want to take something that is not yours. Your hands will want to touch something that is not yours. Your jism, your touch sense will want to touch and feel that is not yours. And that, what will that do? That will create even further problems. That will be corrupting then the mind of others. That will also be destroying other people's lives. When Sangatji, and how many people then get afraid of doing things like that? When they end up, Sangatji, maybe getting, when they're out of marriage and they end up getting somebody pregnant, they end up then ending up with some form of disease. So Sangatji, all these things that occur, all these problems come, breaking up somebody's marriage, becoming hurt. And Sangatji, all these things come from what? Because why? Because we hadn't killed those particular set of eyes. That how can we get the strength to do that when we are amongst those other great Gurmukhs and those that have given themselves to the Guru, whose eyes have become pure? Whose eyes have become pure, Sangatji, when we're amongst them, and when we are constantly immersed in that, being consciously with that, with each breath, saying that Naam. But saying that Naam not from just here, not just from that shallow place, but from deep inside. Vaheguru, Vaheguru. As our then dhyan is in that Naam, and when our dhyan is immersed in that name of God, then all these things will just start to simmer down. And Sangatji, isn't this what people are saying today? Aren't so many people now, whether it be, like I was saying the other day, whether it be somebody that lived a gangster life, somebody that is a hip-hop artist, somebody that is rapping, somebody that is always talking about Maya, is always talking about increasing this getting bigger and bigger in the material world. But even these people now, Sangatji, are all turning back now to meditation. Whether it be somebody that has come back from fighting a war in Iraq, and they're saying that what is it for them that has been actually starting to get rid of that trauma that is within their mind? That what they are experiencing, that trauma that they keep living, that what they have seen their friends, their loved ones being blown up in front of their eyes, what have they all turning back to? They're turning back. But what is it that's starting to help them and work and soothe them? Is meditation. But that is, Sangatji, we don't talk about meditation enough. Within Sikhi, I often find sometimes we speak more about reading Gurbani, but whenever you look at Gurbani itself says there's meditation and then there's reading Gurbani as well. So Gurbani is like the counseling. And then Gurbani is like the counseling, but then Gurbani, the counseling, is prescribing meditation for us. And that's why when we look at Guru Ramdas Ji Sache Paatshah Ji Shabad, that famous Shabad that everybody quotes of Gur Satgur Kajo Sikh Akhaye, but I'm not here looking at the routine here. I'm not looking at what makes a Sikh here. It's not about what makes a Sikh, Sangatji. What I want to focus on just today out of the Shabad is, what is it that will benefit any human being on this earth? Whatever situation somebody has experienced, whether that just be where you have got struggling with, having a really crazy, noisy household because of your children or whatever it may be, and amongst all of that noise, and you're trying to find that place, that sunnah. Sangatji Paatshah कहने गुर सतगुर काजो सिख अखाए सो पल के उठ हार. Even though the meditation becomes something that is constant, we live in that way. But the saying that to get to that point, we have to sit down and practice it first. Haranam Tyave. Tyave Sangaji means meditation. And because if we look at the Shabad, then Gurbani, Sache Pachi talks about Gurbani separate. Pachi is saying that Uddam kare palke prabhati ishnan kare amrit saranave. Kende Upades Guru har har jap jape sab kilvik paap do kle jave. But then they say that Bandya Uttia Haranam Tyave maaf karne the next one fir chade divas. Fir chade divas Gurbani gave. They sing then as the sun is rising, then you sing the Guru's words. Because then that will guide you on what to restrain from and how to live. Sangaji, but before the sunset, Guru Sahib Ji is talking about meditation first. And to get to that place of Akhi Bajo Vekhana, that's starting to go beyond, because it's become a habit now of looking from those eyes full of lust, eyes full of greed. Remember, it starts from where? It starts from the mind. Man ka soot ka lobh hai. Because it all starts from the impurity, comes from the mind being greedy, wanting more and more. When that greed is set in the mind, is working from a place of not being satisfied, not being content, and always looking at what other people have got. Oh, his wife seems really nice. I should have married someone like that. Where it starts in the mind, that part kende man ka soot ka lobh hai, and then it goes on to everything else. Jehva soot ka kood, akhi soot ka vekhana, and then we look from eyes that are impure, from greed, and then we look with lustful eyes. Partriya, then we look at other women, then we partan, then we look at other people's wealth. That part is saying kende akhi bajo vekhana, looking beyond these eyes. And that all starts from being in the right company, and then taking the meditation that the Guru has given us is through Naam. But it's very closely linked with when we talk about that the meditation that most people are doing today, being more aware of their breath and just watching their breath. That was something that Buddha, Gautama actually practiced a lot. And that was something that comes from that dharam of watching the breath. It's more promoted from there, Sangaji. Not that it didn't exist before, because it did. But Sangaji, with Naam, there's that awareness. And I was listening to a great saint, and that saint was saying, absolutely, yes, there's that where you become more and more aware as you're more conscious of your breath. They said, but adding Naam to it is saying Naam is a path of Ras, where we've got this sweetness, juice flowing inside of us. And that will help us to become more loving, more compassionate. And all these, as that Naam is going on inside of us, but in that same way about making sure our awareness is there. As our awareness is there into that Naam, is deep from inside. Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. In the same time, because the Naam is in the breath, so automatically the awareness goes into the breath. So now, even throughout your day, as you go through your day, every time you say Vaheguru, be aware of it, that it's going in and out. Vaheguru, Vaheguru. And you'll see that some magic will start happening. Akhi bajo vekhana. You'll start to see the world with these eyes, but something within these eyes will start dying. And those were those lustful eyes, those greedy eyes will start dying. And then, when you start looking now like that, and these kan will start to go into a sun, will start to go into this beautiful silence, and you'll start to enjoy that void inside, because now you automatically, as you're so immersed in that Naam, then now you will not allow slander to come into your ears, because you've got rid of those ears. Virkanna sunana. You listen without those ears. Soon as slander starts to come, soon as dirty, filthy chat starts to come, you remove yourself from there, or you go back inside to that silent place now. You go back to your breath, to Vaheguru, Vaheguru. And Sangat Ji, when you're not listening now with those eyes full, ears full of slander, now can they param bajo chalana, even that comes from greed, wanting more and more, listening to about this Maya, about this illusionary world. And now you don't walk with those feet anymore. You've killed those feet. Oh, margene. You don't walk with those feet that used to take you into negative society, into negative company. And those, maaf karna Sangat Ji, forgive me for saying this, but those could be even those people that you thought was Sangat. Just because they looked like you, just because they've got a dastar and a dada as well, just because they've got the kakara on. And that bad society could be them as well, because all they do is talk rubbish about everybody else. All they do is slander the rest of the panth. All they do is nindya of saints. All they do is actually slander and gossip about saints. All they do is say how we are the best and everybody else has got it wrong. And they still, and there's some that will actually that try and justify forms of intoxication as well under the name of rahat, and they'll actually use different forms of getting intoxicated. And even though it wasn't supposed to be used in that way, and what do? These are true, real stories that I know of. And they sit there and play computer games instead, helping the panth out. Yeah. So now those feet where I've killed those feet that used to go into that negative company, of where I may be influenced of taking intoxication, and that could be in certain even family events where there is alcohol, where all these things are happening. Now those feet are dead. I've killed them. And now I actually do without those hands now. Those hands, Sangat Ji, that always from that manka soot globe, from the greed of the mind, those hands now always wanted to touch that what is not mine. I've got rid of those hands are dead now. I've cut that tongue now. That tongue, I've killed it. I'm speaking without that tongue. I speak now with the tongue of truth. I speak now with the tongue of sweetness. I speak from the tongue of compassion. I now serve with the hands of compassion. These hands now, they actually have become giving hands, of giving to those that haven't got any food, that haven't got any shelter. These hands now have become those hands that take that prashada, that roti, and serves in the langar to everyone that is sat equally. These hands now, Sangat Ji, have become loving hands that make food for my family with absolute joy from inside. These, Sangat Ji, these feet, I walk with those feet now that have become the feet of truth. They go out and they serve to those that have not got food to eat. They go out to those places. Those feet have become now those that go where I am, where there is good company, those that actually teach me about living truthfully. Now I walk with those feet that go into the Gurdwara and that serves to everyone. These feet now, they go to that place that where somebody's life is endangered, and I go to help those. Sangat Ji, and now these eyes look at a sister. These eyes look at a brother. These eyes now look at the jyot, look at the one light within everyone. And now I now listen to those ears. I listen to the praise of Vaheguru Ji. I listen to the beautiful stories of my gurus. I listen to those conversations that how can we help the society. Those are the ears that I live with now. And in this way, Guru Angad Dev Ji Pach kende iyo jeevat marana, in this way I have died whilst I am alive, and now I'm experiencing that sun, that silence inside. I've stepped away from what was causing all that noise for me. Then it doesn't matter how much noise is around us. the more and more we practice that Guru Mantra given to us by our Guru, it will take us into that beautiful place. Actually, the noise became noisy for us because of the type of things we were listening to and looking at and what we were doing with these hands and feet. So Sangat ji, jeevat mare fun jeev hai. Kende aise sun samaya. In this sun I have reached now. That I have died that death while still alive. Let's do ardas, Sangat ji. Let's say, Satguru ji Pacha ji, let me die that death. Let those ears that listen to slander die. Let those eyes that looked at those that don't belong to me and that greed of wanting it, let those eyes die from today. Hey Sache Pachaji, let those hands die that were touching that what was not mine. We're touching in a lustful way. Sache Pachaji, let not these hands act out of violence and bringing pain to somebody else's body with acting out of violence because of my anger inside. Let not these eyes look from the eyes of anger, Sangat ji, so where I want to bring bodily harm to someone. Let not my feet now, Sangat ji, go to those places that are going to bring me down. Let those feet of mine die. And now let me truly live. Give me true eyes. Give me eyes of compassion. Give me ears of compassion. Give me hands of compassion. Give me feet of compassion. Let's do that ardas and let's be mindful about that throughout the day today. That's our homework. So Sache Paatshah ji, so Bhagat Kabir ji, today sharing these beautiful words with us, Jeevat sun samanya gur sakhi jagi, and they're saying that sun I experienced through the Guru's teachings, and we've just gone through that through our Guru's teachings. Rahao, we've just contemplated that on as well, Sangat ji. So let's move on. Kansi te tun upajay. This has been translated many different ways, and I'll translate it one way, and I'll take the translation of Bhagat of Maaf Karna of Professor Sahib Singh ji. And so they're saying Kansi here, the bronze. So the Kansi te tun upajay, they're saying that if you look at a bronze ornament, and if you hit that bronze ornament, tun, there'll be a sound that comes from it. It'll be really noisy when you hit that. The kende that kansi te tun upajay tun kansi jai kende. But if that Panda, that bronze ornament is to break, they're gonna go on to saying that in the next pankti. If that bronze ornament breaks and it hasn't got that void inside of it now to create that sound, and then Sangat ji, what happened? Then you just try and hit a piece on its own, a broken piece of bronze. Then you hit that, it won't create any noise. It'll be a dead sound. So what is this that they are trying to say to us, Bhagat Kabir ji? That sound will then just go back into that bronze. It's got no void to resound anyway. It'll just be a dead sound. Can't see jai, go back into that bronze. Can't see footy, because now that bronze ornament has been broken. Kende Pandita, oh listen Pandit, oh listen wise one. Kende tun kahan samai, kende where has that sound gone back into? So Sangji, the way Professor Sahib Singh has translated it, he's saying that, for example, the ornament is like our attachment to this world. And they're saying when we're attached to this illusionary world, to this material world, what will happen is, and the sound is constant desires are always welling up inside of us. And that's why there's a whole load of noise inside of us because of the attachment. That's why we're not able to go to that sun, to that quiet place inside when everything just chills. But Kabir ji saying, but as per Professor Sahib Singh, says when the Panda, when the bronze ornament breaks, when the attachment inside of us breaks, because now we are following the Guru's teachings, Now it's not about holding on attachment. Now life becomes about giving with these hands, remember, because I've killed those hands now that are attached. Now I've got giving hands. And Sangatji, I've got feet that go out to somebody for par upakar, to help somebody. So I've got now feet that are always giving somebody comfort now. I've got eyes that are looking out of compassion now, that wants to take away somebody's pain and suffering. So Sangatji, now I've gone to that, because I've broke that Panda, I've broke that vessel, bronze vessel of attachment, and now the desires, there's no sound now, there's no noise of desires, of constantly wanting to expand in this material world for my own gains, for those things that I don't even need. Now that's quietened down. Now it's all about becoming, now it's all come about giving, Sangatji. Wow, that, just listening back to it like that, it is so amazing, because I actually didn't see it that way. I didn't make the link, the noise being, and then the sun being connected to when the attachment breaks, then we're able to enter that sun and we're able to then become more beneficial for society. So Sangatji, like I say, as I speak and translate the Hukamnama, even though I might have a little idea, but I learn so much as I share with the Sangat, and so it's actually quite amazing for me as well, and it helps transform my own life. So then Bhagat Kabir ji go on to say, kende teri kutti sand main pekhiya. Bhagat Kabir ji saying, kende teri kutti sand. Sand means male, with the union of Trikuti, with the three qualities of Rajo, Tamo, Sato, this whole creation was made. But amongst all of this, I was able to break out of those three modes. And then what I was able to do? Pekya kat, hun kat jagi. That I was able to actually see the light of God amongst everything. The core of everything is that light. I'm experiencing that light. That's where Sangatji, we want to get to. And when we kill those eyes, those ears, those hands, those feet, we'll be well on our way to start experiencing that light amongst everything, that one that is amongst everything. Aisi Buddha Samachari, now that Buddhi, that wisdom inside of me is Samachari, has been born to know that Vaheguruji, that Kat Mahe, that at the core of everything is Kat Mahe Tyagi. They're saying that now I've become so detached to the material world because I've realized what is at the core of this material. That is Vaheguruji. So I've become a Tyagi now. I've become a renunciate because I've been able to realize the truth amongst all of this. So then now there's nothing for me to get attached to. Kende aap te janya. Aap meaning you, Vaheguruji, because look at the Papa's got the onkad underneath it, meaning Vaheguruji. Aap you. Hey Vaheguruji, aap you, Vaheguruji, aap te janya. When I went inside of my own self, aap. First aap is Vaheguruji, aap. The second aap is myself. When I went into my own true self, when I went into that sun, behind all the noise, behind all the thoughts and everything else, to that void for us is everything, is Vaheguruji. When I went to that place, then what happened? I got to know you. I realized you. I realized my true aap, my true self. I realized that. Tej samana. And then I merged into, Tej here means light. My light merged into their light. Actually, I realized that there is no difference between my light and their light, that is everywhere. Because I realized this is just an illusion. So I actually, first when we think about it intellectually, we think light inside is separate and light outside of Vaheguruji is separate. But when we realize that this is an illusion, then there is only but light. There is no Vaheguruji's light and my light, there is just light. So Sangat ji and then Bhagat Kabir ji say, Kaho Kabir ab janya. Now that I know you, Vaheguru Ji, now that I've actually realized myself, Kande Gobind man mana, and now that I have my mind is completely satisfied now. Now I don't need to work it out. I don't need to try and get it with my mind now, because now I know you. And only from knowing you do we actually really know. Until then, it's all based on just our intellect and understanding. So only from actual knowing ourselves can we actually know that one. So Sangat Ji, itniyak bentiya pravan. Don't forget the homework, and I'll take it for myself as well throughout today. And even though we might not be out and about, but when we look at something on a screen, on the television, on our phones, that think about those eyes that we want to kill, and think about those ears that we want to destroy and kill, think about the hands and the feet that we want to kill. And then Sangat Ji, so at the moment we might not be able to go out to Sangat, but what feet are we using and deciding who and what to listen to and read on social media, on the internet? So let's be very conscious of that throughout the day. And remember, keep that in your breath from very deep inside. Just be very conscious of that. Vaheguru, Vaheguru. It will actually guide you what to look at and what to listen to. So, and you'll find that your anxiety levels, everything else will just start to reduce as your dhyan goes into the Shabad. So Sangat Ji, Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.